Hello, my name is Alan. My pronouns are he, him. And tonight, in my time at least, I'm running the first of 4 sessions of Against the Dark Conspiracy. This is my own game of supernatural thrillers. It cribs some of the mechanics from Cthulhu Dark. And we're going to be playing in a continuity that is developed over the last 12 months or so. Which has used some of Night's Black agents, because we are playing against the vampire conspiracy tonight. This game, like all my online games really, has been organized through the Gauntlet RPG community's online calendar. If you don't know about the Gauntlet, then please do search Gauntlet-RPG, and you will find all about us. We are a community that plays around the world, around the clock, to be honest. All kinds of games. For the first time, maybe not the first time, but for the first time in a long time, we have a series of D&D 5th edition going up in the new year, which I hope doesn't shatter our cred for indie and story games. But, you know, we play all kinds of games, and we would love to have you come and play with us. As a way of testing the water, we have a kind of seasonal weekend free convention called the Gauntlet Community Open Gaming Weekend. If you are interested in coming to play with us and want to test the water, then the next one I think is in March. And if you follow Gauntlet-RPG on Twitter, you'll get updates on that. And you know, if you like us and want to contribute to the Patreon that keeps the thing ticking over, great, fine and dandy. If not, just come and play with us. So that's the setup. Now, in terms of this game, this is a game about really not very nice people. This is about people, player characters in this game called operators, who are, probably not wrong to call them scarred by their experience of doing dangerous and dubious things for amoral organizations, such as intelligence organizations, criminal organizations. And so they've been making a living in the shadowy world of espionage and crime. And that's where they discovered the threads of what appears to be a supernatural conspiracy behind lots of what's bad in the world today. They are confident, some of them very confident, because we are playing with some returning characters who have actually encountered a vampire. They are very confident at the heart of this conspiracy are vampires. Now, the aim of this game, really, is that we will work together to shape an operation that picks up on some threads. Now, those threads come out of a one-shot from our recent, less than a month ago, I think, Gauntlet Community Open Gaming Weekend. And one of our players was in that session, and I liked where we left it. And so we are picking up the threads from that point. This, as I say, is about not necessarily very nice people. These are damaged and dangerous, frankly, individuals. And so things could turn nasty. And therefore, we are going to be playing with a clear set of safety tools. For those of you familiar with Gauntlet play, you will know that we pride ourselves on our table culture, and safety tools are a key part of that. So in terms of safety tools, we're going to be playing with lines and veils. Lines are things that won't crop up. We will just avoid them in the fiction. If we get close to them, you know, somebody steer us away, right? If one of us begins to edge towards that line. Veils are things that might appear in the fiction, but we will draw a discrete curtain across because we don't want to see that played out live and in Technicolor on screen. We want to see that behind the screen. So we will screen wipe or fade to black or whatever else, and then pick up with whatever effects that has had. We're also playing with an open door, because that open door is there because the world goes on away from these screens. And if something comes up in the real world that you need to deal with, for goodness sake, go deal with it. You know, if possible, give us an indication in the Zoom chat of when you will get back. But, you know, go deal with it. Doorbell rings, radiators are delivered, stuff happens. Please go deal with it. But the open door is also there because if this turns out not to be the game you thought it was as players, the open door is there for you to use. It's there for me to use if this, you know, goes horribly wrong. And I say, frankly, guys, let's take a break and come back to this. if this isn't the kind of game, for goodness sake, life is too short to spend 3 hours in front of a screen on the off chance that it might get better. So if this is not the game for you, please, the open door is there. We're also playing with the X card. Now the X card is the simple way to play the X card is to make the X. That will certainly catch my attention. Some people prefer to put it in the chat. I'm not very good at monitoring the chat. So if anybody else spots X card in the chat, please draw my attention to it. I won't ask why someone has played the X card. I won't ask what triggered that response. I might ask how far back in the fiction you'd like me to rewind before I play forward to avoid that material. Because the object here, particularly in this game, is to make you slightly uncomfortable in a good way. But if stuff makes you slightly uncomfortable in a bad way, then please, the X card is there to pick up on stuff. And I've had the X card played when I've given, a random name has come to me, and I've given it to an NPC, and then that NPC has started doing some bad things. And quite legitimately, somebody said, that's my, I can't remember, their uncle, cousin, sister, brother. That's their name. And I'm finding it a bit uncomfortable having them do this stuff. So we just changed the name, so the X card is there for you to use. And let me stress, folks, that if the first time something comes up, you think, yeah, that's fine. That's okay. I can cope with that. That's not an issue. But then it comes up again. You think, actually, I'm not very comfortable with this. Please do play the X card. Just because you didn't play it then doesn't mean you can't play it now. Okay, it is there just to put a break on the action and just help us all have fun at the table. Because, that's what we're all here for. Have a good time. I also increasingly think of stars and wishes. We'll be using stars and wishes at the end of the session to debrief. And I'm increasingly thinking of it as a safety tool, because it's an opportunity just to highlight the stuff that was really good and presumably people would like to see more of. And then wishes could be what you want to see, could be a wish of what you don't want to see next time. So I think there's actually some argument for that debrief at the end of the session also contributing to safety. We're also playing within the Gauntlet Community Code of Conduct, which, I sometimes tongue-in-cheek describe as don't be a dick. But it is about playing respectfully. And, I've played with all of you before, so I know that's not going to be a problem. So that's the setup. There is a tab for lines and veils. I've added a column to this called content warning. That's the stuff that it's quite difficult not to put in this game, simply because, stuff like tension and intimacy between player characters and between player characters and non-player characters, drug and alcohol abuse, verbal abuse, it's stuff that can crop up mechanically in this game. So that's not a reason not to put a line through it. Certainly not a reason not to put a veil through it. But if you do put a line through it, be aware that that might just constrain the options in terms of some of the mechanics. But, that's not a reason not to do it, please. So if there is anything that you want to add, I've put nothing in there at this point. I'll go to it last and add a couple if somebody doesn't pick them up. But please add some lines and veils and stuff you might be interested in seeing. If there's stuff that you particularly want to see in this session or in this series, put it into interest and I'll do my best. Okay, so that's me in the introduction. Let me now ask the players to introduce themselves. And let me start. Yeah, we'll go right to left. So Jim, say hello, tell us about your pronouns and introduce us to Sophia Manzanares. Correct my pronunciation.
No, that's fine as far as that goes. I'm Jim. I run and play a whole bunch of games on the Gauntlet. I played with Alan a bunch. Very excited to be returning to a character that I played briefly in an earlier run of an earlier, I think probably some like a beta version of this. I think we had just graduated out of Fate Dice into the new system or something like that. So, but it's really fun to be back playing Sophia. So Sophia is a former Secret Service agent. Folks who are familiar with the Secret Service, the United States Secret Service, may recognize them as the law enforcement agency tasked with protecting federal officials. But the other thing that they do is protect the US currency. They're the principal law enforcement. Yeah, there we go. That's her. The principal law enforcement division in charge of going after counterfeiters. And so there's a lot of like, kind of undercover work. And so Sophia's principal interest is in driving whatever she can get behind the wheel of, and drive, as fast as possible, as hard as possible, and put away as wet as possible. That is her interest. And I guess the other thing I should mention, we've all got kind of a thing that is our motivation for going up against the conspiracy. Why do you choose to confront the conspiracy? My reason is greed. I like the good things, and this life sometimes delivers them. Here's the thing about vampires. They're like hundreds of years old and have had a lot of time to accumulate a lot of wealth. Like, we have not been to like a crappy, cheap vampire party yet. They're in castles. They've all got limos. All of their waiters are like, could be models and stuff like this. And this is it's kind of cool. Like, if I'm going to be going up against evil, I would rather it be in this setting than in, like somewhere in Oklahoma in a Quonset hut, on the, in the middle of the prairie where somebody's trying to, print fake $50 bills. So really enjoying this life, even if it can get a little weird sometimes.
Well, let me ask you on behalf of Sophia then, what could, if the conspiracy has all these nice things and Sophia likes these nice things, is there something specific that they could tempt her with? Because clearly the conspiracy would have lots of room for someone with Sophia's skill set. So what could the conspiracy tempt her with?
Oh man, I mean, I think the obvious thing is like, there's access to all of this stuff, and then there's like no kidding owning it, right? There's like going to a party at a castle and like having the deed to the castle in your name. Like that's two totally different things.
So owning some of this really nice stuff. We'll come back to which car that might look like later, conceivably. Okay, and I will come back and ask you about Jessica in a little while. So let's move along. Let's go next to Will. Will, say hello, tell us your pronouns, and introduce us to Jimmy Rook.
Hi, I'm Will, pronouns he, him, as are those of Jimmy Rook. Jimmy used to be a bagman for MI5, for MI6, sorry, a deniable overseas asset. He was a squaddie, and then he was a criminal, and then he got involved in the security services trade because, he's good at sneaking into things and he knows all the right people in the wrong places. And Jimmy's been deep embroiled in the shadow world against the vampire conspiracy for quite some time now. And he is probably here. It's cost him a lot. It's cost him some friends, but they've made their victories. But you have to keep pulling that web or it'll just grow back again. And that's Jimmy's personal crusade now, as his motivation is revenge. They killed Jimmy's contact, a woman named Kasha, turned her into a vampire, held her as bait over his head, blackmailed him, and then used her up before he could get her back. And so he's determined to kill every last one of these undead things. And, he's just going to keep pulling on those strings until either he falls apart or they do.
Yeah, well, let me be a bit specific about that, because the follow-up question to that is, what would you sacrifice to get your revenge? So is there anything that's off the table?
I think as far as Jimmy thinks about it, nothing's off the table. But I think that there's still, like lines that he probably wouldn't cross. Like he would probably balk at like sacrificing an innocent to or betraying a friend to get his vengeance. He's not that far gone, but he wouldn't think twice about himself.
Fine. And again, I'm going to come back to talk about your anchor, Daria, because
she's in the wind. I mean,
exactly.
She's supposed to be fine, right? She's supposed to be fine.
We'll pick up on Daria shortly.
Yes, like nothing bad has ever happened to Jimmy's anchors before, so it's fine.
No. Yeah, to lose one anchor is unfortunate. To lose two would smack of carelessness. Yes. Okay. Let's move along. Mari, say hello. Tell us about your pronouns and introduce us to Camille Duchamp.
Hi, my name is Mari. My pronouns are she, her. My character is Cam Duchamp. She was the character who was in the one shot that Alan mentioned. She is a former French DGSE hacker. So she worked for the French Signals Intelligence Agency, or that part of the DGSE. And she's good at hacking computer systems and enjoys it and enjoys what she can find out that way. And she's she chose to confront the conspiracy out of curiosity, that she had suspicions and about an old target, and she just pursued that to the detriment of her career. And
yeah, makes you wonder why the French Secret Service were not interested in finding out about this, doesn't it?
Yeah,
doesn't it?
Maybe they're in.
So what, you've ended up curious about these people, this network, these creatures, let's call them creatures.
Yeah.
You confronted one last time. What would Cam Duchamp give up to know more about these creatures at the center of the conspiracy?
She would potentially betray most people. She wouldn't give up her twin sister, and she would put herself at risk, but not serious risk probably, but she was definitely willing to put other people at risk and betray them for suitable amounts of information.
Thanks for just reinforcing that this is a game which player characters are not necessarily nice people. Okay, that's great. I want to come back and talk about that sister shortly. Finally, Donna, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Yelena Nikitichna Pushkina.
Thanks, Alan. My name is Donna. My pronouns are he, him. And I will be playing Yelena Pushkina. I'll leave her patronymic out of it for all of our sanities. She is a Russian, used to be an officer in the SVR, which is their non-military foreign intelligence branch. And she's an assassin. And I think we saw her going on 2 years now in the last instance of this, hunting down some vampires and their minions. She is, I think, a little bit, or she appears to be, blasé and inattentive, though I think that is just her way of seeming like not a threat. She's very useful for getting close to targets. Her connection with the conspiracy is that she used to be a cog in the machine. She used to, kill people who were going to talk or find out a little bit too much about the conspiracy. I'm sure she's hurt no one that anyone else on the team knows. So yeah, that's where she's at.
Well, that opens the obvious question to me, which is she's now part of confronting the conspiracy. Presumably some sense of guilt gnawing away at her?
Perhaps, but mostly betrayal, right? They tried to kill her because they stopped trusting her.
How dare they treat
I know
her as a disposable asset?
We'll learn them.
You certainly will. So but I mean, it does open the box on, well, you were inside once. What would entice you back? What would make you come in from the cold, Yelena?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe it's not just betrayal. So maybe there is a little bit of eyes being wide open now about exactly what the conspiracy has been getting up to. And I think if she saw some evidence that, or a lot of evidence that would show that, things were better off if you left the conspiracy alone. And essentially all you're going to be doing is grinding yourself up by getting in their way. I think
the conspiracy is fine. It just needs to stay in the shadows. The world works perfectly fine. The conspiracy keeps turning the handle. It's fine, Yelena.
I think Yelena's Russian, and there's a certain pessimism about that kind of thing. But yeah, I think it would have to be strong evidence that hey, the world is better off with this vampiric conspiracy.
Okay. Let me see if I can tempt you back with that. Okay. So let me just go back round then and talk about something else that's important to you, which is in this game, every operator, every player character has an anchor. This is someone that the operator needs to protect from the conspiracy. This is not someone they live with. This is not someone they see regularly, because to be honest, to see them regularly would be to put them in the conspiracy's crosshairs. So let's just pick up on these anchors. Sophia, your anchor. Tell me about your anchor, because all I need is a name and a relationship, something about them maybe.
So Jessica is my ex-girlfriend. She works for a museum. And I say ex-girlfriend in the sense that we get back together for a week and then break up for 6 months and then get back together for 2 weeks and then break up for 8 months, like that kind of thing. So, and I think she was in our previous session. I want to say she showed up in that game. It's been so long that we played that I can't exactly remember. She got wrapped up in it somehow, yeah.
I've got a vague recollection of raiding a museum.
Yeah.
In search or trying to destroy, maybe. I'm not certain.
Yes, yeah, we're trying to bust up yep.
And she was on a jolly, on a trip, and was a guest at that. That's my recollection. And it'll be interesting to see whether those occasional visits have brought her to the conspiracy's attention.
Yes, yeah. But like if queried, I will insist that she's just an ex. It was a messy breakup. I'm not going back there again. And then like twice a year, like clockwork, whatever, like the Swallows to Capistrano, I end up back with her for a little while, and then we have another meltdown, and I'm off on another mission.
Okay. What about Jimmy? Tell me about your anchor, Jimmy.
So Jimmy's anchor is a Turkish archaeologist called Derya Kaya, who was kidnapped by a rival vampiric conspiracy, a shadow vampires of the Greek line, and was rescued by Jimmy and his friends. And Jimmy nearly gave up hunting down vampires, nearly found another life with Derya, but he couldn't forgive what happened to his old partner, Kasia, and he got sucked back into it all. And
I thought I got out and they sucked me back in.
And then that's when Derya says, "You walked back in, you son of a bitch." But yeah, he tried to keep her away from things, but she was always curious as well. And possibly she didn't quite get the message when he said, "Forget about me." And he's no longer able to get in touch with her.
That's right. My recollection is that she was on an archaeological dig in, I want to say West Africa, but correct me if your memory is better. And she is currently, anchors in this game, currently they're off screen. They're people we're going to worry about, but we're not worrying about now. And then they may become targets of the conspiracy, then they may go missing, and then they may be taken by the conspiracy. And at the moment, Derya is missing. I think it's fair to say time has passed, and what was being pitched as archaeological team lost in, let's say West Africa, lost in deep forest. It's now begun to be voiced in the press that maybe they've been missing quite a while now, and maybe there's some kind of terrorist plot going on. The Turkish government denies any negotiations going on with terrorists, but it's unclear where Derya is.
Yeah, Jimmy just consoles himself with knowing that she's pretty capable, and going to ground would be the best thing to do in this situation.
Let's go to Cam Duchamp then. Cam, tell me about your twin sister.
Her twin sister, Elodie, works in the French civil service in Paris in a much more reputable position, some administrative role, perhaps in the education department. They were close growing up and as young adults, but obviously have not kept in touch as much as the needs of what Cam has pursued has drawn them apart. But she's still fond of her sister, and
yeah, I mean, fond enough to betray anyone but her.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I get that. So far, neither Jessica nor Elodie have the conspiracy, as far as you know nothing about them and their connection to you. Let's now go to Yelena. Tell me about your anchor, Yelena.
So Maria is my older sister. I think maybe 5 or 6 years older. Maybe there's a sibling in between. And she is a mathematics professor at a university, an unnamed university in an unnamed city, if I recall correctly. So
always a good idea
to slot them in.
Yeah, exactly. Could be anywhere that crosses your path. Fine. Yeah, let's see whether any of these become involved, and that will often be the decision that you as players will make. Okay, so there's our setup. Let's begin then. If I ask you to look at the operators tab and go all the way to the far right beyond Sophia's part of the character keeper, you'll see there's a safe house. And Cam, I think the pilot went well. And so the network has commissioned a series. And so, previously on Against the Vampire Conspiracy, we'll have had some shots of you and Nacho, getting this young woman out of the clutches of the conspiracy, confronting this weird looking shadow cloaked figure in the corridors of GSV Technologies. And so you have taken Eva back to this safe house. So the first question there is, what's this place like? Now, I'll be honest with you, back in the day when you lot were working for sometimes reputable intelligence agencies, safe houses could be reasonably plush. These days, they are invariably low rent. So Cam, tell me what this place is like.
It's a disused space above a retail store. It's not really designed as an apartment, but it's been forced into that, perhaps. It's certainly not legally an apartment or anything like that.
Can I ask, was it at one point, it's that half-life between, at one point it was storage for the shop, at other times maybe it was started as an apartment. So are there still, stuff people forgot they stored up here? Is there still any of that around?
Yeah, there's one of the closets has some miscellaneous stuff in the back of it, in beat up boxes and crates that...
It would be really cool, I think, if it turns out that this holds some, because when you got Eva out of that place, she was in a medical robe. So I'm thinking that maybe she's now, pulled together some kind of patchwork outfit from these aging, dusty bits of clothing that maybe when this retail outlet was a clothes shop was stored up here. And give me some idea of, clearly the safe house, this former apartment, former storage space, is pretty low rent. But what's the shop downstairs like? Is that equally low rent? Is this budget clothing, or is this, you know, reasonably plush?
I think it's budget clothing.
Okay. Now, will you put, you know, a sentence or two into that box on the character keeper, just as an aid memoir, so all of us have got some kind of picture of this? Okay. Let me start then with Sophia. Sophia, you got, you know, there's a conspiracy board that serves this network of true believers. And that's where you picked up on Cam's SOS. The tacit assumption is all of you know one another from your pasts. We'll explore that history as we play. But you were able to get to Bucharest at pace. So I think it'd be interesting for you to just paint the scene, really, of how we first see Sophia arriving at the safe house, or in the run-up to arriving at the safe house. That maybe gives our audience a sense of what Sophia thinks she's good at.
Yeah, I think that it's like maybe it's like middle of the day. We're in like a slightly, like we said, kind of downscale section of town that's maybe mostly residential during the day. So like for the most part, it's kind of cleared out. People are off working and stuff like that. And I kind of like the idea that there's like, you know, there's a street that runs across, you know, the front of the building there. And there's like on the sidewalk, you know, there's a trash can there, and there's like a couple of squirrels, you know, like fighting over a candy bar wrapper or something like that, right? And they're just sort of chittering, and you can hear some birds and all this kind of stuff and everything. And there's this kind of low roar that just starts to kind of Doppler up from around the corner. And, you know, and then that resolves into like a squeal of tires. And, you know, the squirrels like kind of both look up, like drop the candy bar wrapper and scamper, and, you know, you know, like some kind of a, you know, like a, like big, like, you know, like Italian, like a race car that's been like modified to make it street legal, like whatever minimal modifications are required to make it street legal in Romania, you know, just kind of comes up to the curb, screeches to a halt. You know, the gull wing door comes open, and you know, a black motorcycle boot, boom, drops down onto the pavement. And, you know, Sophia comes out, you know, motorcycle jacket, sunglasses, hair just kind of pulled back in a ponytail, right? You know, reaches down behind, pops the seat forward, grabs a, you know, what looks like a duffel bag, like a go bag, right, from the back of the back seat, pops the seat back down, you know, beep, beep, like closes it, the alarm triggers, and she looks at the facade of the place, looks down at her phone again to like make sure she's got the right address, sighs, and then goes, you know, walking in through the front door of the building.
Okay.
And the you know, and the car is parked in, you know, like it's clearly no parking zone, but it's just like right there in front because it's the closest place to the doors. So.
And I'm imagining, you know, there's the frontage of this budget clothes shop. There are probably some clothes on those little rotunda things outside on the pavement. You know, maybe a couple of slightly down at heel Bucharest housekeepers are you know, looking through the
babushkas,
looking through the overall sections, and there's a you know, a door, barely looks like a door beside that leads to the stairs up. Great. Let me ask you the second question about the safe house then, given that you've painted a picture of the locale. Who's vulnerable here? If the conspiracy hit this place, who's vulnerable? Apart from you lot.
Yeah, I think the I think that the retired ladies who regularly gather here. I like the idea that it's not necessarily like a new clothing store downstairs, but like a thrift shop kind of a place, right? And so like I think it's as much like a hangout for the, you know, kind of elderly ladies who run the place on behalf of the, you know, whatever the proceeds go to the local Catholic church or something like that. And I think they are, you know, I think I'm just, Sophia calls them the babushkas. And they are the ones that are like I'd be really pissed if anybody messed with them. So yeah.
Spot on. Well, if you can just put a sentence or two in that box just to remind us about that, I'd be grateful. Let's now go to let's work our way across. No, I tell you, I'm going to skip about. Let me skip about because I am a slave to the character keeper too often. Let me go to Yelena. Yelena, what do we first see of Yelena as she is, getting to the safe house? Not necessarily getting to the doorstep, but that gives our audience a picture of Yelena and what she's about, and then maybe cut to the safe house. I don't know.
Yeah, I think what we see of Yelena maybe is we hear the rumble of Sophia's engine, right? We then see that reflected in a coffee cup, at the corner down the street, at a bench beside the window. Yelena is sitting, just watching, figuring out, why this is a good place, where all the exits are, if anyone is watching. And I think we see her like pass some small talk with the waiter. And then like maybe half an hour or an hour after Sophia walks into the safe house, she drops a few loo on the table and walks over, crosses the road. You're muted out.
Thank you. Given the time she spent observing before and after Sophia arrived, what single thing reassures Yelena what reassures you most that this place is safe in some sense?
Yeah, I think the way it's been described so far, maybe this is not quite suburbia, but this is like an outlying village in the city. It's got its own kind of town center, or at least this main street, this high street where the locals shop, and there's a rhythm to the place, right? People go into the city or wherever to work, and apart from the Bugatti that's just drawn up outside the safe house, everything here belongs, right? It's really easy to spot things that jump out. So it's not classic safe house territory, but it's more like a long-term safe house, somewhere you can just keep your head down and stay for months. And maybe not the kind of circles that the vampiric conspiracy usually circling, they're much more high rent.
So the core thing is that you'd spot the outsider.
Yeah.
Because they arrive in a Bugatti.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm visualizing now this is a residential kind of, one of those little kind of spoke towns, villages on the edge of city centres. So reasonably self-contained, but plenty of opportunities to travel in and back. Yeah, fine. Again, if you can put a couple of words or a sentence in that slot just to give me an aid memoir, I'd be grateful. And finally, Jimmy, how do we see Jimmy Rook first in this episode?
You see Jimmy leaning out over a rooftop, smoking a cigarette with a bottle of beer in one hand, and he's looking out across the city, and then he looks down, sees a Bugatti pulling in, shakes his head, flicks the cigarette off, and then comes down the fire escape and Jimmy's a window and goes inside.
Apart from the presence of the Bugatti,
yes,
what has Jimmy spotted that identifies why this place isn't an ideal safe house? What's its weak point?
Its weak point, I think, is think its major weak point is that it's not near any good like travel, like arteries of transport, you know. So it's kind of it's a bottleneck, you know.
No quick getaways.
No quick getaways.
Or
you're going to need a hell of a driver to get through that gridlock traffic.
Indeed, because there is some great stuff published for Night's Black Agents, which I often draw from. And one of the things it has to say about Bucharest is this is a city of 1.8 million people with 1.4 million cars. This is gridlock like you've never seen. So yeah, we have to try to arrange, if not today, then at some other point, an opportunity to make a getaway. Okay, so that's our safe house setup. I am conscious that we're at 10 to the hour. What I'm going to suggest is that we take our first break now, and then we'll come back and go straight to the four of you interacting in the safe house with Eva. Okay, so back in our seats on the hour, or 5. Let's make it 5 to the hour. Is that okay? Fine. I'll see you then. Okay, we're back from our break. One of our players will be back shortly. So let's cut to inside this dusty, grubby upstairs room where, you know, there's some mattresses, there's running water, but it's, you know, maybe Cam and Nacho stashed 3 or 4 crates of bottled water and some meals and a slightly dodgy microwave here. So this is where we first then encounter Eva Haflich. Cam, when you got her out, she was sedated, and she is still clearly confused. But it seems appropriate for us to run this as an interrogation scene. You know, I don't know if we're going to get the rubber hoses out. I doubt it somehow. But I think it would be interesting to find out some stuff from Eva, maybe, about what's been going on. So Cam, I'm going to come to you first. What kind of approach do you take when you have had a chance to talk to Eva before the others arrive? What's been your demeanor?
Friendly and sympathetic is the approach she's going with, trying to get Eva to trust her. Yeah, it would be really good if you had her, so. Yeah, it would be good if your expertise included any kind of social skill, really, wouldn't it? It would. So let's have you see what you can have discovered already from Eva in terms of how this works. And so can I ask you all so I'll talk you all through the mechanics, because they've changed, I think, for most of you. If you go to the basic moves, you'll see that there's an investigate move. When you want to ask a question about someone, something, or somewhere, or want control, that's me, to reveal something about the situation, roll a d6. At the center of the display of dice in the dice room is for me, it's gray. It may appear a slightly different color for you depending on your monitor, but at the center, there's a gray dice. You always get to roll that dice. And the way you roll the dice in this dice roller is you click on it and it'll develop a little kind of round halo around it. Add another d6, that's the orange one, if you have expertise. I have to say, Cam, this isn't really, you know, you may feel that you're being friendly and open, but frankly, you look a fairly terrifying, you know, operator. So there's no expertise in dice for you this time. You can always include the green stress dice. The stress dice you don't have to wait to feel the character is stressed in order to use the stress dice. You use the stress dice if you want to increase your chance of success. And the stress dice will tell you if something comes up that's a bit stressful. So Cam, at the minute, you're just rolling the middle gray dice. Do you want to add the stress dice? Sure. Okay, so highlight gray and green, and that should illuminate a little purple reroll button at the bottom of the screen. Let's see what happens. A 3 and a 4. It is only the highest dice that matters. So that's a 4. So on a 4, you get the minimum needed to proceed, and control will also answer one question. I think that what I can tell you for nothing is
because Nacho, I think, was staking out Eva Havlik's apartment in Bucharest, when a car pulled up, seemed to offer her a lift, and then drove away with her. He followed her. You arrived. You took the van that you were using and arrived at GSV Technologies, where you saw her being clearly drugged, being taken from the car. I think I can tell you for nothing that the man who gave her a lift was her boss. While she's an art student, photography student, she works part-time as a dancer in a nightclub. And the guy who runs that nightclub is called Dragos Albescu. You'll find him on the Faces and Places tab, folks, if you're interested. Dragos Albescu, who happened to be passing, offered her a lift, and after she'd got in, all she remembers is feeling a sharp pain in her thigh. And I think it's like he spiked her with something. And then she remembers waking up afterwards when you were getting out of the building. So you can have that for nothing, but you can also ask me a question, or you can create a detail that you think might be interesting to add to the plot at this point. It's up to you. Is there anything particular you'd like to know about Eva or what's gone on?
So she showed up in the files at
the Kielburg Retreat, that clinic down on the German-Czech border, yeah.
So I want to ask if she's been there or what her connection with that is that she's aware of.
Yeah, and she says, "Oh, is this all about that? I didn't do anything, honestly. I just won the competition. I got the letter and it offered me, a 48-hour treatment and spa gift, and I took it. I didn't do anything wrong there, did I?"
No, you're fine. There were some other people involved. Did you see anything or anything odd or?
I mean, it was an amazing place. I've never been anywhere like it. It was like being, some kind of really amazing social media influencer. It was just kind of fantastic. And I had a massage, and there were all these skin treatments and all kinds of stuff. It was fantastic. I was so relaxed. I woke up from the massage. They told me that I'd spent an hour asleep. It was just fantastic. But I didn't take anything. I didn't do anything really.
It's fine. It is a gorgeous place. Did you meet Dr. Weber, who runs the facility?
I think I did. He was kind of I think he was in charge. And yeah, that's right. I met him. He had a really really impressive British assistant. I forget his name. Michael. He was called Michael. And yeah, Michael showed me around. I got the red carpet treatment, and I couldn't even remember entering the competition.
That didn't seem odd to you?
No, I mean, stuff comes up online and you just click and you think, oh, nothing will come of that. So I must have just clicked the right button one day.
Fair enough. And they just gave you spa treatments and massages and facials and all of that. And
all expenses paid.
And there was nothing.
No. I mean, the flight there, the flight back, it was all fantastic.
No even odd new experimental or cutting edge spa treatments or anything like that?
They didn't tell me that, no.
Okay.
I mean, it just seemed like, I've never been to that kind of place. What would I know? Does that seem like a fair answer to the question?
Yes, I think that's...
Okay. Well, now that the other three operators have arrived, Yelena, do you want to ask Eva any questions or pursue what Cam has now passed on to you?
Yeah, I mean, I maybe a little bit suspicious, given what we know about what the conspiracy is doing with people of interest. This whole spa treatment thing sounds very dubious to my way of thinking. I wonder if, when we see, if we look at Ava's arm, do we see like a telltale sign of that she had had blood taken or anything like that?
I suppose that you can pursue that route if you want to. The fact you don't have any technical expertise will mean you will be rolling without expertise. So
Sure.
that's fine by me.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure you know which way you're going with this.
Sure. I guess, I am maybe looking for some kind of signal from her that, maybe she had a bruise there that didn't make any sense to her afterwards, so I think,
with you.
Yeah. So I guess we'll, make her a cup of tea or whatever, kind of a relaxing drink, maybe get her at the table, sit her down. And I guess, we're, my approach is to kind of let her believe that, maybe someone has been taking advantage of her, that this lucky strike from her previous perspective is exactly what these kind of people do.
Okay. Now, and I think, you have persuasion as an expertise. So I think, your natural charm comes through. You're probably the closest to her in age. So I think there's another piece of, of connection there. So I think you're rolling the gray dice in the middle. I think you're including the expertise dice, which is the orange one. Do you want to include your stress dice to increase your chance of success even more?
Yeah, I think I will stay away from the stress right now.
Okay, so let's roll those two dice.
Because the mechanic is if my stress die rolls over my current stress, I increase my stress by one, right?
If the stress dice is equal to or higher than any other dice, up it goes automatically.
Okay, so I will not bother, given that I'm pretty chill right now. So just the normal die and the expertise die. Okay.
Oh, that's a neat 5. So on a 5, you get the basic information, and you can ask me one question or create a bit of fiction. I think that she'll say, yeah, there was something. When I was asleep for the massage, when I woke up, I had a plaster just here. And they explained that they'd taken just a small sample because they had to match it to the subsequent treatments, that because all the treatments are kind of keyed into your they talked about biochemistry and stuff. And so and that night I had and it was like they'd taken just a tiny little kind of pinch of skin out. That's what you get for nothing. Now, you can ask me another question, or you could create a bit of fiction.
I think I'm gonna maybe, and I think this is like maybe a normal conversation piece, although I'm kind of trying to dig a little bit deeper than you might go with normal, 5-minute acquaintances.
You're good at this. She doesn't even know that you're kind of wringing information from her. She just thinks you're a really nice woman who's been, not like that scary woman over there.
So yeah, I think I'm trying to get a little bit of her family tree, right? I'm trying to establish whether like Hayflick is a long running family name for her, whether, where her people come from, I guess is the lingo, right?
I think that it is, I think I can tell you in answer to that the family story goes that actually they can trace their ancestry. The family came from Amsterdam. Everyone's a little bit sketchy about how they ended up, in Czechoslovakia, in Romania. But a grandmother who moved and then married someone, and she's part of that Hayflick line. But yeah, the family say that they if they could just afford to get to Amsterdam through the searches, that they'd find that they were related to people in Amsterdam. And you know, she's wondered about whether that, you know, whether do you think that would get me citizenship there?
I mean, the Dutch are notoriously laid back people, right? So I'm sure it'd be no problem. I don't know how far back you got to go. Great grandmother, was it?
Well, let me think. So this was kind of, I think that, let me think, that would be my great grandmother who married the Halflick. And that was kind of just before the First World War, I think. That kind of time.
Yeah, it's curious. Well, I need to get some extra details to help you, find your place in the Netherlands.
And just complete that citizenship application.
Exactly.
If you could help me with that, I'd be really grateful. Because, you know, like 48 hours ago, life was okay, but now it's been turned upside down.
It's a shame the way that happens sometimes.
What about, let me go to Jimmy. Jimmy, do you want to have a conversation with Eva?
Yeah, I offer Eva a cigarette.
I think she'll smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you work at Club Gadarene, eh?
Yeah, I do. Only part time. You know, and it's all above board. I just need some money to pay for it.
Tell me no more. All above board, and he winks at her. Yeah. How'd
No,
you get that
seriously,
job,
it's
then?
all above board, really.
Yeah,
I just needed some money to pay for the kind of the art course that I'm following.
Sure. But I mean, I've heard of Dragos Elbescu. Haven't you?
Well, yeah, he's my boss. He gave me the job.
He gave you the job, eh?
Yeah.
Just like that.
Well, there was an application and stuff.
Oh, right, yeah. But you hadn't heard all the other stuff about Dragos.
I don't know what you mean.
Okay. And I don't know, I'm trying to work my way towards like leaning on the sort of like the shady, asking her about the shady things that might have gone to Gadarene and try and like work out how much Dragos might be as a target kind of thing.
Yeah. Now, you know, none of us looking at the picture of Dragos on that tab is thinking he's entirely above board. So I think larceny would play as expertise here. Given
that we've got a strong suspicion to say that he was the one who kidnapped her, we suspect he's a member of the conspiracy, right? So,
well,
but it is trying to case, you know, it's more along the lines of like as a criminal trying to work out what the inside the route is in here, kind of thing.
Okay. Well, let's have you roll with expertise. Add the stress dice if you'd like to improve your chance of success.
Okay, so with the orange, the grey. This is a very neat pile, Alan. I like it.
Yeah, I've rearranged the dice into a more organised form. So yeah, thank you. So grey and orange. Yeah. Would you like the green?
I'm going to break the habit of a lifetime, and I'm not going to include the green this time.
Because we should explain to our viewers that because of all of these characters, to some extent, are returning, all of them are bringing a certain amount of stress with them to the table. And we'll have a chance to do something about that shortly. But
I got a 4. So I can tell you, Dragos Elbescu is neck deep in the Romanian underworld. And Club Gadarene is almost certainly a front for a criminal enterprise of some description. Quite what it is maybe we can flesh that out. But certainly Dragos is not above board. The club appears to be a successful club. You know, people go there to be seen. Some of the rich young folk of Bucharest like to be seen there because it's, you know, hip and a little bit edgy. It's in a not very nice part of town, but it's got a hot reputation. And the dancers, you know, young men, young women,
dancing decorously, though probably not wearing a great deal around the place. But it doesn't have a vice connection. I think I can tell you that. It does have something of a drugs connection, but that's probably as much to do with the fact that it's young people with lots of money meeting young people without very much money, but maybe access to drugs.
Yeah, so it's more like, you know, they don't operate their businesses out of there so much, but it may be like where they launder money through or whatever, right? Like, yeah.
So that's what you get for nothing. And you've got a question to ask me or a piece of fiction to create that seems narratively consistent with what we've got so far.
Where would be a good place to snatch Dragos from as a detail about Club Kitterine?
Okay.
Somewhere where there's cars involved, perhaps. So there might be a car chase of some kind. I'm open to suggestions, guys, because like I'm really just looking to do that.
At this point, let's leave that open.
Yeah.
That at this point, you know, something about Dragos's routines.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we can flesh that out to fit whatever comes next. Okay, that works fine for me. I left Sophia till last because while Cam is not strong on personal skills, I noticed Sophia has a personal skill called authority, which is, you know, it's not charm.
No, I was cop. So yeah. So kind of when all the and I think I would have asked for Sophia to go last anyways, because I think Sophia's role here is everybody kind of talks to her, and then Sophia kind of steps up and says, "Okay, let's get you home, kid." You know, and I kind of like, you know, have that thing where like, you know, my key ring is around my index finger and I kind of jangle, like time to go.
And are you hoping that out of that is going to come some kind of, oh yeah, of course I'll go with you, and that's going to open up an opportunity to have a conversation with her in the car, maybe, or what are you?
Because what's going to happen is I'm going to take this impressionable kid who's all about the sweepstakes and everything. We're going to walk downstairs out into the street, and she's going to go for a ride in a car that costs more than all the money she's made in her entire life. And
probably will make in her entire life.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I like that. I think that is sufficiently upfront to include authority as an expertise.
Yeah, and it's not like, can I give you a ride home? It's like, let's get you home is what I say.
Before we do that, I just want to touch base everybody else that you're content having her go back to the flat that she lives in. It's probably a shared flat. So does anybody want to have a word with Sophia before that exchange? Because I just want to make sure we're all comfortable with putting her back on the street.
So, I mean, I imagine that as characters, we would have discussed the plan beforehand, right? So is our assessment that she's in no danger, or is she a tethered ghost? You know,
that's what I'm wondering. Is this putting her there so that you can tempt them out? Or is this putting her there in the hope she'll be fine?
I mean, it seems like whatever they want from her, they already got.
They took a sample a couple of months ago at the Kielberg clinic, and then they took her off the street yesterday.
And put her back.
No. Cam rescued her.
Cam rescued her. Got it. Okay. All right.
So I just want to make sure that we're clear about what our intentions in relation to Eva are.
I am all up for using her as bait in order to lure out some conspiracy contacts. I don't know if we have. I feel like Dragos is the easier target here in that sense of trying to wean out the conspiracy. But if anyone has a plan to use her as bait, I'm 100% happy to do that.
She works doesn't she work for Dragos?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't you put a listening device in her purse or something like this and send her back to him?
Oh, yes.
he was the one who
had her,
kidnapped
right?
her,
Yeah.
so she might not want to see him.
But it's whether we keep her safe or we recruit her as an agent.
You know, or if we play a slightly deeper game, right? She was drugged up when you rescued her, right? So, so it's completely plausible to Dragos that she turns up the next night and says, "I ran away from those people who kidnapped me. Please help me, Dragos. You're my friend and my boss."
Because she doesn't know. Sorry. So just to step out for a moment, my understanding as a player is that she doesn't know who took her.
No.
Okay.
All she remembers is getting into the car with Dragos. She's got a vague recollection of feeling a prick, you know.
Okay. So it was. So
and
she
then
was.
she woke up.
Okay.
So her last recollection is in the car with Dragos.
Okay.
Now I will point you at a tab called Heat and Intel. On the far right-hand side, she's not technically a prisoner, but there is an opportunity to spend some resource to either call on a contact to provide a safe place for her, or spend intel to provide fictional cover for her reinsertion into the conspiracy as a mole. Whether a conscious or unconscious mole.
But they want her. I'm nervous about handing back something that they want, Sophia.
Sorry. So this sorry. I'm gonna just. This is me as a player still kind of figuring out exactly where everything is and how we're all.
Yeah, I appreciate this is tricky because we're picking up something that Cam knows a lot about and the rest of you don't need to.
So Sophia, not Sophia,
Eva
Harfitch was kidnapped by the conspiracy after they tested a DNA or whatever, right? And there was in a file, there were the letters AVH, possibly Abraham Van Helsing, and they were doing tests on both her and this vampire Throndal, who is our kind of like overarching antagonist for this branch of it, one would say. So it's, what do they want with this seemingly normal girl who has no idea that she's been working for a member of the vampiric conspiracy for all this time, who has found something about her, some genetic component, perhaps? So it's definitely something that they want.
Yeah, and you know, if our modus operandi is to, you know, roll up any asset we have to the next level, right? It's a reinsert her as an asset. Dragos will bring her to whoever he was going to bring her, but this time we're going to be on his tail or whatever.
How was the biotech lab left behind? Was it on fire by any chance? No, sadly, it's a shame. Everything should be on fire when you leave it.
Another 30 minutes of play and it might have been, but we were up against the clock at that point.
Yeah. Just because I'm like, oh, if they just bring us straight back there, then we gain nothing.
But let me just stress that wherever you end up taking her, Sophia's approach to getting her there is still valid. I just want to be clear where you're taking her, I guess.
And sorry, Mari, is like, what's Cam's reading of kind of Ava's situation and kind of suitability as an asset, or like the danger we're putting her in?
She definitely thinks we'll be putting her in danger, but she is fine with that. She's not sure how much more useful we could get, whether they would actually pick her up yet again or whether they got what they needed.
Perhaps I can help a little bit with that, in as much as the time between when she entered those labs and when you got her out is less than 30 minutes.
Okay, so they probably did not have enough time to do whatever they were looking to do. If it was more than...
So it's clear Cam has no moral objection to staking out the goat.
Oh, yeah.
My sense is that Jimmy doesn't either. Or was I?
No objection to staking out the goat. More concern that it's burning an asset that we could hold back and return for later.
Okay. Yelena, where are you on this spectrum of niceness?
Yeah, I mean, I think I am. I mean, my only concern is really operational. Like if we need to intercede, which I'm happy to do, will we have the kind of position either on the club or on the eventual lab where she gets taken? But
Okay.
as in, maybe they've spruced up security since Cam sprung Ava the last time.
So, bottom line, what I'm sensing is that reinserting her as an innocent, but bugging her or tracking her in some way would be a productive way forward. So, Sophia, with all that in mind, I'm going to put the ball in your court as to whether you take her home or whether someone's going to spend some stress to call on a contact to babysitter.
Or mark intel, right?
Or mark intel to reinsert her with enough cover. What do you think, Sophia?
I think I want to mark intel to reinsert her with enough cover.
Fine. So I did try to make sure everyone started with some intel. It turns out that Sophia has 2. So if you get rid of one of those intel, she will have sufficient cover. The best thing to say to Dragos, is if he brings any of this up, just say that something strange happened, and you found yourself with some people that you didn't recognize, and you ran away.
If something comes up with Dragos, just say that you shouldn't have drank that drink that someone handed you earlier in the evening.
Okay.
And
so
that's your answer to any of that.
The joy of this is we don't need to worry about the detail. It's convincing in the short term.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that because Sophia is the last person she sees and sets up this and mark the intel, you can add Eva as a contact. Down the bottom of your character sheet, you'll see there's a space to add contacts. I've left some of the contacts some of you previously had. You can now add Eva Halflick, she, her, and select information broker.
Okay.
Because she may now know stuff that she doesn't know she knows as an asset inside the club.
They can find things out. That makes sense, yeah.
Okay. So she's safe. She's going back in. You've given her a sufficient kind of cover to hold water for at least a while until I spend something to pull it apart.
Well, can I just ask a rules question? Why is she an information broker and not a watcher who's keeping eyes on our target?
I think a watcher is a surveillance expert.
Got it. Okay.
The thing about find things out is it gives you a broader scope.
Got it. Cool.
And whether she's doing that because you talk to her now and again, or whether you've bugged her in her bag, or whether you just put a tracker in, we'll deal with any of that as a flashback when the time comes.
Or I go to the club every now and then and put some 20s in her bikini or something like that. Exactly.
Above board, I said above board. It's all fine. It's very tasteful. They are not naked, but they do move.
Sure. Yeah. I'm sure there's ways to tip them and stuff. So yeah.
So that clears up Eva. We've tied up loose ends. You've got a bit of information. That's debrief, if you like, done. I want to go to downtime, because now you have some opportunities to just if you there is a tab called Cycle of Play, which gives you some idea of what you can do with that time. But the important one here is you get a chance to seek relief from the horror. If you want, because some of you have got quite high stress coming into this session, if you want to reduce that stress, then the tab labeled Seek Relief from the Horror is how you do it. In effect, you will reduce stress by 1, but then telling me how you do it, we'll apply one of those moves, and everything has a cost, right? Jim, since you last played this, it's a little bit more concise than it was, but the principles are the same. One of the ways that you can do this is you can declare something about your anchor. That's the least painful way to you, but it can be painful to the anchor. You can also reveal some of the history you share with people around the table. I haven't yet asked you about who you care most about, who you care least about. I wanted to give you a chance to get to know the characters. But if you go to that, I will ask you which character we're talking about. So I'm going to go to Jimmy first because Will has most experience with the system. So is there something Jimmy wants to do?
Yeah. Jimmy wants to spend that 1 point of intel that he has to take Daria off the missing thing. So now she's a target. And I want to seek relief from the horror by looking for guidance as I speak to my confidant as she rings me on my burner phone. And we don't need to role play this out because, I don't think we could do like the whole thing, but it's, she rings back up and, they came, they tried to take her. She got away. She's been lying low. What's going on? And I'm going to, talk about how it's just getting deeper and deeper. And there's more people in danger. There's this girl, Eva.
Now, if I point you at the seek solace in a relationship, if you say something new about your anchor, so yeah, you have that conversation.
But that's marking the anchor. That's that would be putting them back on the.
I beg your pardon. Sorry, no, I've misunderstood. Yes.
So I would like to look for guidance, and she seems like if you can't confide in your anchor, then who can you confide in? I think.
Okay. Well, let's reduce stress by 1 then, and roll the stress dice, and let's see how well this goes.
Yes. Can't possibly go wrong. There's a 5.
5, 4 plus. Mark heat. And describe what they ask you to do to restore their belief in you and how this draws the attention of the conspiracy to the team or makes things difficult for you during the next operation.
Well, I think that the tension is that is Jimmy just doing this just for revenge, or is he doing it to try and take down something evil, right? And if he's trying to do it to try and take down something evil, then he better make sure that girl gets out of this.
Okay, so what Daria is saying to you, you need to keep this girl safe. Yeah? Okay, make a note of that somewhere so we don't forget it, because you cannot go back to Daria with that move until such time as you fulfill that. And I've marked heat, so we're at the top of suspicious. Let me go to the person with the next highest stress, which I think is you, Cam. Cam, are you interested in seeking relief from the horror?
Yes, she will.
What do we see then in terms of those mechanical options, and then what does that look like in the fiction?
She's going to, I'm going to go with indulge a vice. She's going to go to a bar, pub, a nice one, and get drunk.
Fine.
And she's not really looking to meet anybody, but she'll chat with people
And let's hope she doesn't let anything slip, eh?
Yeah.
So fine. Reduce stress by 1 and roll the stress dice. Let's see what the consequences are. 5. Mark heat and agree with control how your behavior or what happens that night draws the conspiracy's attention to the team.
So I feel like she has to say something that she shouldn't have. Whether that's mentioning Eva or GSB perhaps or something.
I think mentioning Eva would be good because then I can have a little cutscene which has a waiter who is delivering the drink just walking away, and later that night ring out saying, Inspector, you asked me to listen out for any news of somebody called Eva Haflich? Well, I had a woman in the bar tonight, ... Yeah, okay. I will point out that we've moved from suspicious to alarmed. And so that's an excuse for me to have a nameless and faceless member of the local law enforcement telephoning someone and saying, I may have picked up a connection to Eva Havlik, ... Fine, that's nice. Let's go to Sophia next. Sophia, do you want to seek relief from the horror?
Yeah, I would like to get into revealing history with some of my fellow agents is what I would like to do.
Now, in order to identify which agent you want to do it, you'll have to tell me which of the agents you care least about or which one you care most about, and then focus on one of them.
So let me see here. Let me go back to our operator sheet here.
Because down at about row 28 to 31.
Oh, so here's a thing I just noticed, which is if you go all the way down to the bottom, read what it says on that bottom line. Notes.
Row 49?
Row 48. What does row 48 say?
Notes from previous ops. Oh,
What
actually,
does
it says
row
notes
48
from previous ops.
Yeah.
Let me correct that spelling error now.
Spell check doesn't catch. Yeah, I just noticed that myself. So, all right.
There you go.
Okay, so that taken care of. Change it. Don't forget to make a note to change it on your master too. I think the member of the team that definitely the member of the team that I care the least about is Jimmy.
Okay. You don't need to tell us any more than that at this point. Just put Jimmy in down there. And so is it Jimmy that you want this reveal some of your history together to relate to?
Yeah, let's do that then.
So if you reveal something new about your history with Jimmy, reduce stress by 1, and then work your way through this series of recollections as flashbacks. Your first recollection, when did Sophia first cross paths with Jimmy?
An
Interpol bulletin.
I mean, like, would you have been in the United States for me to like arrest you at some point?
Would you have been abroad at any point investigating foreign circulation of
US sure
counterfeit bills?
of US dollars and stuff? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I'm thinking as I was part of MI, like sort of deniable asset for MI6, right? Maybe I was like your local fixer kind of thing. It was a bit too like close with the people that you were trying to bust, right? You know, like the whole wads of like counterfeit US bills that were being thrown around and shipped off to various places.
Yeah. So I mean, is that I really like the idea that it's like I got on your tail, I busted you, dragged you in, and they went, no, that's your contact, like that kind of thing.
Yes, yeah.
You know, like you gotta spring him, forget everything that you knew about that, and so like I maybe like devoted several months to like tailing you and tracking you before I finally and we first met met when I busted you, and then like I was told immediately, nope, you got to spring him.
Yeah, I've got a picture of a special branch officer turning up and saying, "I'm sorry, Miss Manzanares, he's not to be messed with."
Oh, I don't think he'd apologize. It would just be one of those, you know, oh dear, unfortunately you've
Yeah, they didn't send special branch. They went straight to MI6.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
And then, of course, when you go back to the
hang on, don't Jimmy, don't say too much because you may end up having to.
Yes, we have to roll, don't we? I apologize. Yes.
So let's have you roll a d6 then to see.
Okay, cool. So let me just. The first thing I'm going to do is let me just jot down.
I busted him.
Yes. Jimmy Rook.
That will have endeared you to MI6 as well.
Met when I busted him. All right. Okay, cool. And then it's just a single roll of the, just straight up roll of the single stress die?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a 2. That's
1
not
to
great.
3. Say why you feel bad about the event you're remembering, Sophia.
So I automatically knock 1 stress off just for doing it, right?
Just for doing it.
Okay, got it. Cool. Why do I feel bad about it? I feel bad about it because I wasted 3 months of my life investigating it.
Yeah.
Fine. You cannot use your expertise until your stress goes up again.
And he was so smug about it the whole time. Sorry,
Yeah,
not to tell you how you role play.
Oh no,
things,
no, I was
my
exactly.
hunch is that you were
smug
extremely smug about it. You're like, okay, no problem. Like in the cuffs, like whistling or something like that. I don't know, but yeah.
I think it was more that Jimmy was like, I was waiting. Why do you think it was so easy to catch me? I was trying to make contact with you, woman.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's okay. Yeah. Oh my God. The you never would have caught me if I didn't let you.
Yeah.
That would definitely. That would. Yeah. That would. That would not go over well. All right. Fantastic.
Now, mechanically, up there on row 7, there's a little expertise currently available. Hit the drop down, and it'll say cannot be used. So
does Jim have an option? There's a bit. I see an or, right? Or they can choose.
Or, yeah. So I just want to make sure, I just want to explain the consequences. If you take that one, then you will not have access to the expertise dice until stress goes up again. Yeah? Right? The alternative is, or choose to add something about your anchor to your recollection, and that will put your anchor in the firing line, but give you your expertise.
Nope. I'm going to go with not having my expertise available.
So there is a nice operator out there at the minute. Okay, and finally, let's go to Yelena. Yelena, you're currently sitting on 2 stress, so you know whether that is high enough for you to want to reduce it to 1. I don't know.
I mean, it's not really, but I don't know. I mean, it seems like a shame just to let this phase pass me by entirely.
So would you like to seek relief from the horror?
Yeah, I think maybe, hanging around in the safe house as Cam's gone out drinking. I think we know that. And then Sophia is driving Ava. Maybe I am trying not to listen in to this secretive phone call Jimmy is having. And I feel like maybe I've eavesdropped a little bit because you can't help but listen. And I feel like I should share something about, the people close to me myself, because, as a social reciprocity kind of thing.
Okay, so seek solace in a relationship. If you say something new about your anchor, let's start with, where do they live? So paint me a little scene of your sister and her home.
So, I think
we needn't pin down the city.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? This starts probably where I want to end, which is like to pin it down. But I think we see this old university on the shores of a lake or a sea. So this could be the Black Sea or could be the Baltic, who knows, and we see, an older woman, at a desk. And I think we see like a family photo, just beside the computer, right? Which is, a much younger set of people. And I think maybe that suggests that, these kind of full family photos don't happen very often, probably due to Yelena's work. And the desk is piled high of papers, and there's like constant, there's like 7 gazillion emails in this inbox, and like a very busy academic setting. Maybe a line of students out waiting for that vital 10 minutes with their professor.
Wonderful, wonderful. And we will carefully not zoom in on whatever lettering is on her door, so we don't know whether it's Cyrillic or not. And we don't know what it says, because clearly Yelena's name is not a real name, and we wouldn't want to give that away at this point in the proceedings. That's lovely. The objects of these little vignettes are to paint a picture of the anchor that makes us, the audience, begin to care about them. So when you do throw them under a bus, it matters to us all.
So that is me mechanically throwing her under the bus, right? Because I have to
Fine.
mark her as being noticed, right? Or
you mark her as being a conspiracy target.
Yeah.
And you have to roll the dice. There is no cost to you, but you have to roll the dice in case a 6 comes up.
Okay.
Only if it came up with 6 would it matter. So that
remains a 2.
So now they're on the list. They're in play. Okay. So let's now move to the next phase, which is, what are you going to do next then? Yeah. And for this, I want to point you at a tab that's labeled Operation 1. It's next to the Operators tab. And I put some speculative loose ends at the top of this. And I guess that it feels like the focus is not directly on any of that. It's more about Dragos and Club Gathering. Is that fair? So I'm going to add to this what's Dragos's role, question mark, as a loose end to be pursuing here, because that seems to be what you've begun to set up.
I'll confess that my major thing is that Dragos took her. He's the closest thing we have to a conspiracy target. Maybe he knows more about why she's important, you know? And maybe, who knows, Club Gathering has all of that file upon her or whatever. Right? Like,
so I'm going to speculate by putting a draft operational objective in, which is find out what Dragos knows or who he works for. Yeah?
Yeah.
Question mark. And you'll have a chance to revise that later on. So with all that in mind, let me then start. I don't think I've started with Jimmy, so let me start with Jimmy. Who or what is the focus of the operation? You'll find a drop-down list or come up with something else.
I think it is a politician / criminal.
Fine. Said Dragos.
Yeah,
indeed. It would be odd if it wasn't now, wouldn't it? I've just realized that's a little bit big. There we go. Okay. So this is Dragos. Jimmy, let me go backwards. Let me go to Cam. Cam, where's the target? So where do you want this operation to take place? And again, there's a drop-down list that will offer you something like, if you want this to be at the club, then it would be an entertainment venue. If you want this to be some kind of chase, then I think that there's something like on the road or on the streets. I can't remember.
Let's do on the streets. We'll do
Okay. Oh, there it's called in transit. And then if you have a look at the in detail
yes.
drop down, and I think that might offer us something appropriate.
Car.
Fine. So this is going to be Dragos in a car. I'm so pleased that it looks like we're going to set up Sophia to do something vehicular. Let me go next to Yelena, who is our most deadly operator. It seems reasonable to say, what is the threat you are likely to face? Now, you'll see that there's a range of options in there in the drop-down. The further down that list you get, the more dangerous they become.
Yeah, I mean, I think, if we were, previously, I think we might have experienced, Dragos having his few nameless goons, but I think since the previous raid, I think we have nameless paramilitary pawns.
Fine. So this is
security in this kind of cell of the conspiracy has been ramped up a little bit.
Yeah, certainly that may be what's twisted us from suspicious to alarmed. Just beef up the security on the Bucharest operation, would you? Yeah, fine. So if you hit the drop down and then return, nameless paramilitary pawns, and that brings me round, I think, to Sophia. What do these nameless paramilitary pawns appear to be doing at the point the operation is going to be starting? And again,
I think they're meeting their conspiracy handler.
Oh yes,
this is absolutely a thing where like things have gone a little pear-shaped, and they're going to need some direct guidance. And yeah,
fine, okay, that's great. So select that. So that's our outline. Then so this is all about Dragos. This is about using the information Eva gave you. You've got his routine. So you'll be able to intercept him when he's in transit. And we will discover that he's going to meet a conspiracy handler. Lovely, lovely. So this may be about whether you are going to intercept him en route or whether you want to wait for him to meet the handler. I don't know. I am struck that an hour has whizzed by.
Just before we move on, I just was, and perhaps this is stepping on something that could come up later, but because we sent Eva back in, it feels like that really naturally ties in with that's flushed him out of his hidey hole to his conspiracy handler, because he's now got the escape, so that she'd be kind of in this car with him. If that's not stepping on too much to suggest. No,
I think that's absolutely fine. Cool. In fact, Jimmy, if you wanted to declare an obstacle that made that an absolute fact.
I have no intel left, I'm afraid.
No, you're intelless.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think that's fine. I think that's a distinct possibility. So look, it's 52 minutes to now, past now. Shall we get back in our seats on the hour? Okay, I'll see you on the hour. Okay, back from our final break, about an hour to play in this session. So let's see how far we get. So the ways you've roughed out the operation for me. Now, each of you can either frame an investigation scene, which will flesh out something else about the detail of who's there, where they are, what they're doing, anything else that might be useful. Or you can choose to not have an investigation scene and instead opt for a preparation scene, which gives you a certain amount of fictional positioning at the start of the operation. So again, I'm gonna start with Will, because again he is most familiar with the mechanics. So what about Jimmy? Is Jimmy interested in doing a bit of setting an investigation scene just to get a bit more detail, or does he want to reserve for a preparatory?
I think that Jimmy wants to. I think he needs to reserve for a preparatory, because it's weighing heavily on him, the fact that this girl might not make it out there. So he needs to do something to prepare for that situation.
Okay, so Jimmy's going to reserve. Sophia, what about you? Is there anything you want to do? Because you know where he's going to be. You know he's in a car. You know he's going to have some reasonably heavy hitters along for protection. What else do you want to know?
Oh man, what else do I want to know? I want to know what kind of car he's in. I mean, I want to know what the fleet is like. I mean, like, is this like, is this like delivery trucks? Is it SUVs? Is it, what's like what am I going to need to keep up? So then this is investigate something. Frame the scene. How are you going to be finding this out? And you can do this in a way that embraces your expertise and get the expertise dice. Oh no, you can't use your expertise. Do whatever you like, Sophia. Yeah. So I think that we know. I mean, I think this is just like, this is the thing where I just get in the Bugatti and I, put on a tank top or something like that, and like whatever, take the like roll back the moonroof or whatever it is, and you know, just kind of ride around town until I sort of, you know, like encounter them. And you said like there's a lot of gridlock and stuff like this and everything. So I'm just going to arrange it to get to where I need to be, to where, like, you know, like we're at a stoplight and I'm next to them and I can, you know, kind of just, you know, do a little like wave to them and stuff like this, and just kind of check out what they're driving, and, you know, and like, you know, make the like to the driver, make the like roll down the window gesture and be like, oh my God, I have no idea where I'm going in this town. Thank you so much. Can you tell me, like, there's like a museum and it's got this painting that everyone's been telling me about. Can you help me find that? You know, to like just kind of see if I can.
And then the light goes green.
Yeah.
And he winds the window up and just drives away.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, let's have you roll to investigate. I think vehicles expertise puts you in the right place at the right time. So you're with expertise. Stress dice if you'd like to add it.
I am not with expertise. I am going to.
No, you're not. Sorry. Yeah.
I am going to add my stress die.
Go for it.
I think this is a situation like you know, I'm out on my own, just hanging out with them, hoping they're not going to recognize me. That's kind of stressful. So also the other thing that, you know what, I think it's less that than that this traffic sucks ass, that like I can't, you know, we're just like stopped. Like even if I wanted to go somewhere, I couldn't.
Yeah, the stoplight is 50 yards away.
Exactly. Yeah. So okay, cool. All right. Okay. So I'm going to be rolling the stress die and the gray
middle
die,
dice.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. So got that. Boom. Oof.
Oh.
That's not great.
Oh, so what this means is that you get the minimum amount of information you need to proceed and mark heat, or once per cycle of play, if what you're doing relates to your specialism, you can mark your specialism and improve that from failure to mixed success.
So I can mark the specialism even though I don't have access to, even though my expertise can't be used.
Yeah,
but specialism is driver. There we go. Specialism is different than expertise. I'm going to bump the heat.
Okay.
Kidding me?
So I'm going to
why should I take that on myself when I can share?
Okay. So 2 out of 3 alarmed are marked. Oh, you're giving me resource. And I can tell you the basic information. Or you can tell me, what do you want them to be in when this operation goes off? Do you want this to be a string of SUVs? What do you want?
I think it's like, he feels like a limo guy to me. Like an armored stretch limo. And I think it's it's not new. It's like something left over from Ceausescu era, you know, with like some kind of big, like, you know, like Russian V8 in it or something like this. You know, it's built to keep the person inside it safe more so than it is to, you know, handle or go fast. So
I've added to the operation, Dragos will be in an old armored limo.
Yep. Yeah.
Fine. Okay.
And as far as so do I have to mark my stress, or because I only rolled the 2, it doesn't add to it?
Afraid not. Oh, sorry. No, it does. Your stress is, yeah. You do. Your mark stress and get your expertise back. Sorry, I didn't even spot that.
Okay. So
I don't know who wrote these rules, but they really should make them clearer.
So just so I understand, it's like I am marking my stress because I rolled equal to or higher than is how that works. Got it. Cool. Okay.
And that gives you your expertise back just in time for the op. What a winner!
Yeah. They totally scoped that like something was going on. All right.
Let me go to Cam next. Cam, what is it that you want to know more about, or do you want to reserve to have a bit of fictional positioning when the op kicks off?
I think I'll hold off for the preparation later.
Okay. And that takes me to Yelena. Yelena, do you want to do a little bit more research or investigation, or hold off for fictional positioning?
So let me know what you think, because I can see this falling between 2 stools. I want to scope out the meat, you know, with my my slide rule to work out my sniper rifle angles and ballistic trajectories. So I'm not sure if that counts as investigating or to find the right spot, or is it preparation?
Well, let's settle this. Are you looking to hit the limo en route, or are you following the limo to the handler meet, or do you want to get the handler into the limo and then hit the limo?
Yeah, I think, or if we are rewinding back to our original discussion, my impression was we wanted to find out who the handler is and maybe bag them all in one go.
Okay. So yeah, let's. I think that is probably the kind of information you are going to get from Eva. You know, where are you going tonight? What has Dragos said?
Yeah.
You with me?
Yeah.
And because I think that then we'll know where you are. You may not have the perfect sniper perch,
but
I think at the minute, without knowing where they're going, you can't have the right sniper's perch. Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
Okay. So, she likes you. We know that. Where do we see you meeting Eva? Or are you just, because that fits your skill set. Tradecraft would allow you to meet her somewhere discreet.
Yeah, I think we see Yelena meeting her like in an alley outside the club on a smoke break or something like that. And Yelena is like dressed in a normal clubber's outfit, doesn't look too strange, and has a quiet chat with Ava over a cigarette.
Fine. That's neat. So you are working with expertise. Would you like to include your stress dice to improve your chance of success?
Why not? So I'm rolling 3 dice, the stress die, expertise die, and the standard die, right?
Yeah. 3 dice. What can go wrong? Nothing can go wrong.
6.
Stress goes up.
Stress for sure. I mean, I was getting stressed no matter what, right?
Exactly. So stress goes up, but a 6, the first 6 we've seen, and 6 is a good thing because you succeed brilliantly. You get the minimum you need. You can ask me 2 questions, but you also get to mark intel, right? So the minimum you need to proceed is that, she's presumably you've picked this up because that's why you're running the op tonight. But Dragos has invited her to go with him to a party after work. And it's in I've no idea about the topography of Bucharest, but it's in the foothills, just on the edge of the city, where the top people live. And you said, Sophia said that I should go along with anything he suggested, because you'd all be watching and stuff. So I said, yeah. So you know where he's going broadly, yeah? The foothills outside town. But you've got 2 questions to ask me, or you can create some detail if you want. No worries, kid. We got you. Yeah.
That's like a death sentence, I think.
Yeah, and I notice Cam is shaking her head. No, you don't. Okay, so 2 questions, or do you want to create some details?
Questions. So we already know it's going to be a limousine, right?
An armored limo.
I guess we know that the threat we're going to be coming up against is, some paramilitary goons.
You could ask some questions about them. You could, numbers or deployment.
So are these questions I'm asking of you, the GM, or something that Ava would have to be reasonably...
There has to be some fictional position.
Yeah.
But then, maybe Dragos talks a lot.
Yeah. So maybe the question is, maybe something that will give us an edge, like who are the names of the security guys who've been hanging around recently.
Tell me why the names are going to give you an edge.
Well, presumably we'll be able to intrude upon their radio or signals with our expertise, and then maybe we'll be able to lead them astray.
You won't need their names to do that.
Okay.
If Cam wants to start tinkering with the local mobile network, leave that to Cam.
Okay.
I think you can get meatier stuff than that if you want it.
Anyone have any ideas then?
What do you want to know about the escort? I think is the question on the table.
Or, maybe the girls in the club have heard a lot about this location. Maybe they've heard some rumors, some juicy rumors, which just happen to be true. Right?
Okay.
So maybe there's some extra points of ingress, or another place that looks over at something they know from firsthand.
Okay. The word is that that this is where the person who actually owns the club is going to be. That the owner's going to be there. And they say he's an American. Somebody called Albright. So this is going to be at Albright's villa. Does that seem like a useful piece of information? Or do you want a bit more?
I mean, obviously I want a bit more, but that seems plenty to whet our appetites.
The bottom line is you know where they're going to be.
Yeah. In terms of either fictional inserts, do we think maybe Ava has overheard one of the security guards talking about the security pass, or the kind of code words or passwords for tonight for security?
That works for me. Password is midnight. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we know where they're going to end up, where they're going to meet the handler. They know what the password for the security team is. And maybe Cam will be able to make that use of that in terms of hacking some systems. I don't know. But that's the end of our investigative scene. I will say just to Yelena that when you rolled a 6 on the stress dice, or stress went up already, if you look at the move, it says you find something scary, roll for stress. You don't have to roll for stress a second time if it already went up. If the 6 had been on a different dice, you'd be rolling for stress.
Okay.
So that's our setup. So let us cut to fictional positioning in advance. I think that Jimmy and Cam reserved their investigation in order to have some fictional positioning. So let me go to Jimmy first. What kind of fictional positioning have you got in mind?
Well, it's perfect now because we now know the password as well. I'd like to, take the place of one of these paramilitary goons with my newly acquired disguise skill.
Oh, lovely! I like it. Okay, so you want to be on the detail tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With the requisite cover, or are you going for physical disguise here?
I think it's that some of these goons, like not the ones who he's got a couple of guys, like meatheads who are with him, right? But then like in his armored limousine, and the ones who are in like maybe any outrider vehicles or whatever, right? They're full on like tactical gear, balaclavas and like things, and I've just got somebody got locked in their changing room somewhere, and Jimmy's here now, right?
Okay. So that's what you're pitching for. Before I come and ask you to resolve that, I'll go back to Cam and say, Cam, you wanted to have some fictional positioning in advance. What kind of fictional positioning did you have in mind?
So I guess if Jimmy's in, hacking their radio or comm system wouldn't be too useful.
Well, I mean, it depends what you want to do, really, doesn't it? I mean, you know, is this about hearing what they're saying to one another, or is this doing something else?
Yeah, I think if I could get in to be able to do something else, you know, disrupt their ability to communicate with each other, or...
Yeah, fine. So I think that this is, I'm going to start with that one, because it's kind of more interesting if Jimmy fails last. So Cam, let's have you roll. So this is with expertise, because you have technical expertise and hacking and all that stuff. So you're rolling with the orange dice. Include the stress dice if you want to increase your chance of great success.
Sure. 6 on the stress dice.
6 on the stress dice. So stress automatically goes up by 1. But that's as good as it gets in terms of doing something else. So you succeed brilliantly. And control will agree with you what extra benefit you get. So you can disrupt the comms around Dragos anytime you like. But what else? As you're tinkering with, you know, getting into their system and working out the wavelengths and whatever other technical details you need, what else? What extra benefit do you get?
See, we know where they're meeting.
I mean, can she pipe it to the rest of us so that we can all hear what they're saying?
I don't think that's a sufficiently big benefit, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
You know, if once you're in there, you can do what you like with it. But I'm just wondering if was there something else you found out, or something else that you want to be able to do around their comms? Don't know.
She could mess with their GPS, maybe something like that.
I was about to say GPS. We could have literally the you've got 2 goons over there and 3 goons over there on your right, on your left. Right?
What about that?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay, so you hack their comms and you can mess with their GPS. Actually doing it will require a roll, but you have that's the possibility that this is opened up to you. Again, because you rolled a 6, mark intel. And if the 6 was on a different dice, I'd be asking you what scared the shit out of you, and you'd be rolling for stress, but that doesn't come up because you've already rolled for stress. And this is stressful enough, frankly. Okay, so Jimmy, let's see how your effort to insert yourself into the tactical team. And you're right, there's an SUV at the front and an SUV at the back.
Mm-hmm. So if they're all high, perhaps I'm in the limo, right? Like...
if you've got an extra benefit.
Yeah. So that would be expertise, stress, and I should mark disguise kit, right?
You should add a disguise kit. I'll ask you about load in a bit. Don't worry about it.
Okay, cool. I'll do that afterwards. So I'll roll my dice.
Yeah.
And that is a 1 on the stress die, but a 6 on the expertise and the other one. So I will roll quickly for stress.
Indeed. Well,
it matches.
Oh, fine. So it doesn't go up.
Yeah.
But I will want to know what did give you a little quiver in a minute. But on a 6, this works brilliantly, right? So you are on the team in tactical gear with the balaclava. What extra benefit would you like?
I mean, I think the perfect extra benefit is that, like, you know, there's the car with Eva and Drago in there, and there's just a very familiar pair of steel blue eyes peering out from the balaclava of one of the heavily armed men inside the limo.
If it's okay with you, what I'm going to do, I'll put you in a limo, but I'm going to put you in next to the driver.
Yeah, so, even better. Like as it pans down through the front thing, and it's just like, eyes flick up to the mirror and look back.
We see you in the mirror. Okay, so Jimmy is in the limo, and Cam is all set up. Cam, where are you going to be located? Are you doing this on the move? Do you want to be on hand? In the car with Sophia? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Give that some thought.
Yeah.
Because that is an interesting question. I'm going to assume that you can get the team in the Bugatti. I don't know if that's possible, but it's a stretch coupe.
I mean, sure. Yeah. I mean, it'll be a little cramped in the back, but yeah.
It's like getting 5 elephants into a Mini, right? There's 2 of us in the front and 1 of us in the glove compartment.
And Yelena is a very slight young woman. Yelena could wrestle with people in the back seat.
I mean, I was thinking we'd have a different vehicle.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, no, that right. Okay. Because you do get to decide what you want. Okay, I do need to now ask you the question about load. You do not have to declare equipment until you use it, but you do have to tell me what load you're carrying. Now, in Jimmy's case, this could be medium. It could even be heavy loaded if Jimmy wanted to, because he's got full tactical harness on. Light means that you look like an ordinary member of the public. Medium looks like, why is she carrying that big bag? Heavy is tactical harness. So let me go to Yelena first. Light, medium, or heavy are you thinking?
So I'm thinking heavy because why not?
Who knows?
But maybe, when we get a shot of us in the car, we see like Jimmy has passed us some notes on what the security team wear, right? So I am wearing our closest equivalent.
Okay. Well, mark heavy and just make a note somewhere that you may be wanting to pass for one of the security detail. Okay.
I didn't send you notes. I send you a selfie.
Yeah.
Of course, Jimmy does that. So Sophia, what about you? Light, medium, or heavy?
I think I'm going to go with medium here.
Okay.
Because I've got, like I said, duffel bag in the back seat kind of thing going on.
Fine.
Yeah.
And what about you, Cam? Light, medium, or heavy?
Medium as well. She has
okay.
a good size bag.
Because the only thing you're going to have to declare of right is a toolkit and or a tablet or a laptop. So you are not going to have enormous amounts of stuff to carry.
We're not exactly going through customs here this evening. So,
Exactly. Now, Sophia, what I do want to know is if it's not the Bugatti, what is it? Is it even a car?
It is a it's like a lorry, like a delivery truck.
Okay.
Like a DHL delivery truck.
Okay. So one of those kind of cubic back jobs, yeah?
Yeah, like a boxy kind of a box truck. But the cool thing about box trucks is that you can park them illegally anywhere and nobody gives you crap.
Okay.
Like this is about being able to just park it somewhere and not be hassled more than it is about being able to tear ass around the city. So.
Fine. So you're all in a DHL truck. Is Cam and her equipment in the back of the truck and Yelena in the front of the truck? What am I seeing, Yelena?
I think I'm in the back of the truck, maybe sitting on a bench, ready to jump out of the back door. I think in my getup, I'm going to draw too much heat sitting in the front seat.
Fair point. Cam in the back, we have to have, screens.
Screen set up.
Yeah. It's the woman in the van, and Sophia up front. Okay,
but it's totally like the screens are all up on a rack, but at a moment's notice, we can throw boxes over them to make it look to cover them up. So I think that's totally. Yeah.
If anybody could I have a look at the back of the car, please? Back of the van? Yeah, okay. So then let's cut to the action. Jimmy, you're in the front seat of a limo. There's a black SUV in front with, 2, 3 driver and 2 or 3 of the detail. There's an SUV at the back, driver, 2 or 3 of the detail. Sophia, you're where are you? Are you following them? What am I seeing as we see this convoy heading out of Bucharest?
Oh, I suspect like the convoy is heading out of Bucharest, and like wherever they're gonna like pull into a one-way street, right? And from out of an alley, DHL van comes in, turns right in front of where they're gonna go, double parks, throws the flashers on, and just blocks the road.
So now let me be clear. Are we waiting to make contact with the handler?
Sorry, I thought we already had. I thought we were in the point where they had. No, okay.
We've got Eva and Dragos in the limo with Jimmy.
Okay. Yeah. So then no. At this point, then I think it's fall in behind them, and
Fine.
and do that thing where every now and then I'll stop, let them get a couple of blocks ahead, and then like drive like a jerk to catch up to them.
This seems to me
so they don't see that we're following. Yeah.
This seems to be about maintaining your cover, Sophia, doesn't it?
I think so, probably, yeah.
When you're at risk of exposure, say how you brazen it out, avoid detection, you just told me. Your expertise in vehicles absolutely applies.
Oh, hell yeah.
Stress dice if you want it.
I think let's hold off on, I'm a 3 stress. I'm gonna hold off on the stress. We'll count on these 2. So I'm gonna roll expertise in the base die, right?
Yep. 4, nice solid, yeah. No problem. Your cover holds, they don't find you or spot you. So they get where they're going, that's fine. Jimmy, anything in the limo, or are you just, are we just waiting till we get where we're going?
Yeah, I just wanted to take a quick out of character moment to say, to get us all on the same page of we are going after the handler, right? We're not going after Dragos. Yeah, cool. Because
Dragos is a bonus. I should have made that clear in the operation. So it's changed from find out what Dragos knows or who he works to, and instead get the handler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thanks for that heads up.
Yeah. And I think all I'm doing is head back against the window, listening to Dragos waffle on to Eva, and Eva's probably like nervous laughter and stuff.
And I think the armored glass between you and them is, so probably what you're seeing is in the mirror, kind of
but we did bugger up to the eyeballs, right? So if there was anything I could know about it, but yes.
Well, that's an interesting question. Did Cam bug Eva?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So let's have you. That will require you to declare a surveillance kit. Somebody will have to declare a surveillance kit, and then we'd roll with technical to see how good the reception is, I suppose. Roll to investigate with a surveillance kit.
I just realized if you fail this, it's going to be, what? She's wearing a wire. Oh, God.
What can I tell you? So with expertise, Cam, stress dice if you want it.
Yeah, I think I'll go no stress. Or no, it's important.
I mean, failure could also be the battery runs out, or it's muffling against clothing. It's not necessarily.
But look at that. Fine. Game over. That's fine. That's fine. So you get the minimum you need to proceed, and I think that what I will tell you for nothing is that Dragos is saying to Eva, Eva, that there's somebody I want you to meet tonight. Her name is she's a really interesting woman, and she's very interested in art, and I think that it would be a great contact for you. Her name's Axelson, Dr. Axelson. And it would be good to go along with what she's interested in talking about stuff, just because I think it could be really good for you. You get that for nothing. what else would you like to know from this conversation, Cam? Because you get to ask me a question, or I'll create a detail yourself, or leave it to me.
I'll leave it to you.
The other thing that he says is at this villa, there's going to be a lot of really important people there, but Miss Albright isn't going to be there. Okay, I just need to tell you that, just in case you're expecting to see somebody that important. But no, Miss Albright won't be there, or at least she's not expected. Cut to arrive at the villa. I think you breeze through the gate, Jimmy. You know, the SUV goes in, you follow it in. The other SUV parks just the other side of the gate, and the rear detail get out just to stake out the gate. And that puts Sophia, Cam, and Yelena in a DHL truck in sight of that gate. I guess, Sophia, or something else?
Oh yeah, inside the gate, absolutely. You know, pull up across the street, turn the flashers on, you know, get out, carry an empty box to the, you know, to the curb, check something on a clipboard, zap it with the zapper, you know, just kind of just jerking around, wasting time.
Yelena, you're in the back of the DHL truck. There's a wall goes around this this villa. Thoughts?
Oh, you know what? Let me ask you. Sorry, just real quick. Let me ask you. Should I mark disguise kit for having like the DHL uniform and all that kind of stuff? Or,
no. The fact you have vehicles gives you
a
vehicle of your choice.
Got it. And
anybody else would be spending stress to call a contact to get a DHL van.
Sure. Okay. But I've got the kit that goes along with having the vehicle, so that's cool.
Yeah. Yelena?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna, you know, peek my head out or tip my hand until we are go, right? So there's no sense in me jumping the gun, literally or metaphorically.
And Cam, you know, the conceit is everyone has earbuds. You're all in touch with one another. You can all hear what's going on around each one of you. But Cam, I guess that you are just piping through what the security team is saying, and you know, it's car 2, we're on the gate. We'll just wait here until we're ready to go. And car 1, yes, Mr. Albescu and his guest are just getting out. We'll stay here on the limo until they're ready to leave. Jonas in the car, which is what they think you are, Jimmy.
My name's Jonas.
Could you just join us, join us outside?
Nod and step out.
Fine. So there's you and 3 guys around the limo. The driver is smoking, leaning against the bonnet. And the rest of you are keeping an eye on this.
I'd like to, as best as possible, try and either keep eyes on Eva as close as possible, or perhaps work my way to, if that's not an area that I could go as in this current disguise, right? If the security guards are kept out of the meeting room with Axelson, I would like to find my way to a convenient, post that I could man and let in somebody else perhaps into the building.
I'm reminded of a very old Bond movie where he comes out in a frogman outfit, peels it off, and there's a DJ underneath.
Yeah.
So that is actually the point at which you declare the disguise kit to change your disguise. So you go off into the bushes. I do think I need to know how suspicious they're going to be. So let's have you maintain your cover.
Mm-hmm.
So disguise expertise applies. Stress if you want it.
I'm just going to drop my kit down from heavy to medium because I think I've ditched all that gear.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I will include the stress. That is a 6 on my expertise.
6. So this goes perfectly. They are not going to worry about you, right? So you make up something that says, "I'll just check around the back. You know, call me when we're ready to go," and they swallow that wholesale. If it's okay with you as the bonus, I'm going to put you in the place, ready to rock.
I want to be like, you know, as like I'm not a focus of the camera, but like suddenly one of the extras in the scene turns out to be Jimmy Rook kind of thing in whatever situation that we're in. Yeah.
And eyes on Eva. Yeah. I think that if you want to appear to be at this party as a guest, I think probably you're looking at light loaded.
I was thinking more staff, perhaps.
Okay. So so we said there's a trolley.
Yeah, or like a tray with a thing over, you know, and he's got like a coat with like a butler's kind of thing, you know.
Fine.
Yeah.
I love the idea of just reaching under the trolley to pull out a shotgun.
Oh yeah, that could be that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I need to roll for stress?
You do because of the 6. You also mark intel.
Yes.
But what is it that puts what you know, apart from the obvious, is there anything else that you notice that makes you feel a little worried?
I mean, can you tell me what that would be? Because it's seen quite a lot. Paramilitary goons don't quite cut it sometimes for Jimmy. I don't think anymore. Because I could go with it's just Eva in danger, right? That's what's stressing me out.
Yeah.
But if you want to tell me that there's somebody with red eyes or doesn't cast a reflection, then...
No, I think it is the way that Dr. Axelson is behaving to Eva. Because, of course, Eva was unconscious when Axelson was in the lab with her. So she has no recollection of Axelson at all. There is an almost palpable hunger in the way that Axelson is leaning and just stroking her shoulder and saying, "Oh, my dear, Dragos tells me you're a very talented artist." It is that kind of creepy. And you can see that Eva's getting it as well, but you know, this is a patron. This could be the break. So yeah, roll for stress.
I rolled a 4, which is higher than my current stress, so it's gone up to 4.
Okay. And that's when Dragos, you notice, Jimmy, and you'll relay this. He says, so would it be helpful, Dr. Axelton, if you saw some of Ava's work, perhaps? And Axelton said, "Oh, that would be wonderful. Let's go now." And they are leaving the building, Jimmy. So what's your plan, Jimbo?
I mean, it seems a bit contrived to get back in the limo with them. Unless they somehow need a personal servant to come with them and bring the wine or something.
Well, you know, I don't. You can declare that disguise kit again to change back.
Yeah, it's just so many costume changes in a night. No, if I can't, if they're not like, "Oh, and we will need someone to bring our wine with us," of course, then I will.
I'm very happy to have you see them to the door. But it's after that, I suppose. I'm curious what will happen.
Well, that's it, isn't it? I think that, like, given that I think it's completely ridiculous for me to go back into the bushes, get back into my military outfit and go in, I am going to. I think it's like hopping over, like no one. I back out of the room, right, and then I just like go out, right, and then just like wait for the guards to move, and then I'm just suddenly over that wall. Then
let's worry about what you might do in a bit. You're backing out, fine. Yelena, technically, they're one paramilitary guard down. I'm just putting that out there.
So perhaps, you know, when the gate opens for the limo to leave, I just happen to be standing beside the pillar and, you know, wave them down, and I'm just Jonas again, right?
Okay, so I think that they left 3 guys on the gate. Yeah, in the follow car. So what
So
you notice initially is that there'll be a bit of a delay.
Yeah.
Axelson and Eva and Dragos come out, get into the limo, but then where the fuck is, where's he? Because you're getting this on Cam's wiretap to the, where the fuck's has he gone? Where's he gone? Is that when at the front gate Jonas appears, Yelena?
Yeah, I mean, are we happy with that? We're going to let them leave and then do kind of a snatch/attack when they're on the move.
I think the difficulty at the moment is, are they going to leave?
Yeah, you're right. Without Jonas,
all the detail.
Yeah.
I back out the door, run out to the thing, and
let me go to Yelena first, because I want to know whether Yelena wants to replace him in the front of the limo.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So if that's all right with you, Will, you can jump the wall as planned, head to the truck, and then I'll just be there.
Just as we planned, like we'll do the trade-off. Yeah.
Okay, well, Yelena, I think that is going to require you to maintain your cover. I think there is a risk that this could blow up in your face. Isn't Jonas slightly bigger?
He's a wiry little fuck. Look at him.
So I am going to give you tradecraft as expertise.
Okay.
Generously, I think. Stress dice if you want it. Roll the dice.
Stress. Do I want stress? Or, if it messes up, we have a very early escalation. I'm happy with that.
The gates are opening.
So I will just roll the 2 dice and pray.
Will you look at that? A 6.
That's
you are more convincing as a paramilitary guard than Jimmy was. You are solid gold on that 6. Mark intel. What extra benefit do you want, Yelena? What fictional positioning would put you at advantage here?
I think perhaps either Dragos or the doctor hands me something. They are preoccupied with Ava, and it's like, take this, minion.
I think
and whatever it is, I don't know, but
I think it's Axelson's briefcase.
Okay.
Yeah. And we'll worry about whether that's a good or bad thing later. So yeah, gives you that. And they get piled into the back of the limo. The follow car becomes the lead car. The lead car becomes the follow car. Jimmy skips over the wall and clambers into the back of the DHL van, and it sets off using sat-nav to get to GSV Technologies. Eva thinks she's being taken home to show Karine her etchings. But Cam, that benefit of access to their sat-navs, is that something that that you want to kind of play into this chase stroke hijack?
Yeah, I think either peeling off one of some of the goon cars, or if there's somewhere more friendly we can redirect them to so we can have better position for an ambush.
Okay, let's see if you can peel off the follow car with a kind of look, SatNav says that there's a block. We're just gonna we'll go round it just in case you get held up. Let's see how well that works, Cam. So you're rolling with your technical expertise, your hacking expertise, stress dice if you'd like it. This is rolling to do something else.
I'll just do 2. No stress.
Oh, wow, you guys are destroying me with these 6s. This goes perfectly. Mark intel before I forget about it. What is scary? I think that over the bug that you have planted on Eva, you pick up Kareen whispering to Dragos. And Kareen says, "Oh, Dragos, I can barely resist." Would you roll for stress, please, Cam? I think I should almost make Jimmy roll for stress, but I won't. So just roll the stress dice and hope it's not above your current level of stress.
I got a 5.
A 5. I think that might be enough to nudge it up.
Yep.
Yeah, that moves it to 5. Oh, we are walking the bleeding edge. Remember, if it gets to 6, you break. But you can always insert a seek relief from the horror if you can make it narratively convincing. Sophia.
Sorry, Alan, I'm just remember, because I'm not so familiar with the move, should I have rolled for stress for my 6 on maintaining my cover as well?
You should have. Yes, thank you. I'm just too excited with the plot. Rules, we don't need no stinking rules.
Okay, so I got a 3, which
is enough to push it up by 1. Sophia, you see that the tail car, the follow car, peels off thanks to Cam's intervention. Cam, you rolled a 6, so what extra benefit do you want?
Let's see. Could we have that? I guess it would be too much to get the other cars out of the way, but
I'm not sure. I think that would be quite a cool thing to happen.
All right.
So the follow car goes, and then the lead car says, "Limo, look, we're getting diverted to the right here. Just stop at this intersection while we check it out." Yeah, Sophia, what are we seeing as this is about to happen in terms of Cam's intervention?
So are we, let me just consult my fellow agents, like various cars having gone where they need to go. Is this now the point where I pull in front? And yeah, okay. So, they tell them to stop there for a moment. And then, oh my God. And then totally what happens is I pull the van up right next to the limo so that they can't open their doors. But we've got the sliding door, right, that we can open. So the like it's right next to it. And literally like if we can get like the windows open, we could have a whole thing happen between the two vehicles and nobody else around would see because it's all tinted windows and stuff, right? So I think that's what happens. I pull right up there. Yeah, right up next.
Let's see how well that goes, shall we?
Yeah.
So this is about, do you get that close before the driver kind of spots
figures
and
out
goes?
What's going on. Yeah.
So with expertise, stress dice if you want it.
I will roll a stress die on this because I want this to go off.
You're all rolling 6 all the time. Look, a 6.
Ba-boom.
Ba-boom. So this goes really well.
And I rolled a one on the stress die. So.
And it almost feels like stress should go down for Sophia. Shame the rules don't say that. But on a 6, this goes perfectly. You are exactly the way you want it to be. But that's when over the comms, Yelena, the guy sitting next to you, turns towards you and his eyes glint red.
Is that the driver?
The driver.
Okay.
Sophia, Yelena says, "Oh," and suddenly there's this possibility something is not as it should be in the limo because of the tinted glass windows. Well, Sophia, roll for stress.
So I'm going to pause just for a moment and ask Donna, what does Yelena say that gets me? Or what indication does she make that there's something going on?
I think there's like a.
Do we have an unsafe word or something like that?
Yeah, I think we have a hostile code 5, whatever the kind of the subtext that we have worked ourselves.
I've declared a complication as super bad. There's a supernatural threat on site at a level above what the briefing suggested.
Okay. So at this moment, right, when things were stopped, I was about to turn around, maybe, not unwind, press the button that lowers the little glass panel in between the cab.
The partition.
The partition, yeah. Because, I was going to declare a stun grenade. But I think and the reason, right, I was kind of turning around towards the driver so that maybe I could intervene with the gear stick if he started to drive away, kind of cooperating with Sophia. And then I see the glint of red, and it's just for the pistol. So, I'm in my bulky gear, but my pistol is in a kind of a shoulder grab, and it's just like a quick draw, dare I say, empty the mag into his head. But I guess I'll lead with the supernatural threat sitting right next to me. And, in the sub-vocalization, it's like, Jesus, Jimmy, did you not notice the fucking vampire sitting next to you?
Do I get any extra spiff for that 6 I rolled, or is it
you
do?
Okay. It's exactly where you wanted it. What benefit would you like?
What benefit would I like? I think the benefit that I would like is that I think that we're pulled up next to it, and I've done that thing where we're like the front bumper of the DHL truck. I have like hooked around the front bumper of their car.
So you are alongside.
They can't just pull away. Yeah.
Fine. Yeah, that works for me. So they are stuck there unless they reverse and do something else. Yeah. Okay. Jimmy. Cam confirms that the follow and the lead car are now a block away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There is that roller on the side of the truck.
Well,
how are you going to get into an armored limo, Jimmy?
Well, that's why we have a woman on the inside, right? So I'm wondering if we should see if Yelena deals with the thing. But my plan is to just haul that open, and it's to like grab his snatch time basically from the inside of the car if that stun grenade goes off.
Okay. Well, I think Yelena was defaulting to,
confront the yeah. Well, I'd like to see that resolve before Jimmy as he slides open the door and he's like, the fuck, and then boom.
Okay. So Yelena, there is a tab called confront them. You want to take them out? Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I prefer to cut straight to the finish them move, but hey.
Yeah, I know. That's asking a lot. So you're going to take this guy out, and I think there is a chance. You are at risk. This is close quarters.
Yeah.
So I am going to declare that you are going to be working with 3 risk dice.
Okay.
So you're going to be rolling 3 of the risk dice, starting on the left-hand side. You are rolling the gray dice. Expertise, because you have shooting and hand-to-hand. But you are also deadly. So you get to roll the deadly dice as well, which is on the right-hand side there. Yeah, so it's orange, gray, and the black dice. 3 of the stress dice, of the risk dice, sorry, and the stress dice if you'd like it.
Yeah, I don't know what my odds are, but this seems pretty stressful.
Your stress is still quite low, isn't it?
It's 3, so
yeah. Compared to most people.
Yeah, compared to most people. Most people aren't sitting in the front seat about to be lunch. So I will. Yeah, okay, that's 7 dice. That seems relatively healthy, but I won't take the dice for granted. Okay.
Okay, let me. So 6 is your dice.
2 6s and no
Yeah.
stress.
Well,
or and stress. Yeah.
So 6 stress goes up. On stress, mark intel. It's always a bonus. There's a fucking supernatural in the front of this car. That is why stress goes up. But you put 2 in the center of this guy's forehead. But
So
yeah.
can I add something to the mix?
What would you like to add?
So it says on the intel, the hidden intel tab,
Yeah.
at any time during play to a vulnerability of a spook, I guess that means a supernatural creature.
It does.
And I wonder if I was forward thinking enough to put incendiary rounds into this silenced pistol.
Okay, now that is fine, but you have to define a compulsion before you can define a deterrent, and a deterrent before you can define a vulnerability.
Okay.
So the best you could do at the moment would be to spend an intel to declare a compulsion for this thing.
Okay. I guess we have to start somewhere, right?
If you go to the supernatural tab, you'll see a range of possible compulsions. I'll just call him the driver.
Ryan Gosling.
So, sorry, do you declare that or do I?
No, you can, or you can defer it to me.
So all of these are phrases with blanks at the end, right? So I guess we fill those in together, or whatever seems
we can
reasonable.
talk about it. Yeah. So if you're interested in them being attracted to something,
yeah,
maybe they're attracted to young women.
Well, can I say attracted to Hayflick blood?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hit attracted to, and I'll put Halflick bloodline. ... They even smell funny. Okay. That costs you 1 intel.
Yeah.
Do you want to spend another intel to get a deterrent? Because at the moment, that's not going to do you much good.
No. I mean, in fact, it's doing me harm, right? But I thought it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we'll do a deterrent.
Go on then.
I think silver.
Yeah.
Is that deterred by? Well, salt mineral might seem like the best.
Exactly. That's where it would go.
And I think perhaps, what we can, they're the best vampires.
Do you want it to be silver, or do you just want it to be what? I mean, you could declare deterred by a symbol of faith and just have a cross.
Well, I was going to say the kind of generic security symbol on my outfit is actually inlaid with silver.
That's going to cost you a call and a contact. Now, I'm conscious that we are at time. I think that this is a good
cliffhanger.
A good cliffhanger. So we have Yelena pulling a gun on a supernatural in the front seat. We're pretty certain we've got another supernatural in the body of the limo. I think that's a good place to say, where will we pick up next time? While Jimmy waits for issues to resolve inside the limo. Have we got 2 minutes for a quick stars and wishes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me go right to left again. So, Jim, any stars and then any wishes?
I thought it was great. I thought we all hit the ground running.
Oh,
Jimmy, sorry.
Such is the identification you bring to this role.
Can I ask a favor? Can we, I would prefer that we end the recording and do our debrief off camera.
Of course. Let me stop recording.